All right, Eagles, we're working on 2016 number 2. 2016 number 2, if you could print this out and work on it, or if you don't have a printer, write it all out. Here we go. The following is the balance sheet of First Superior Bank. Remember, you got your assets and your liabilities. Demand deposits or your checking is $2,000. Equity, owner's equity is 0. Reserves, $200. Remember, when they just put reserves, you could have your required and your stuff that's in the vault, required reserves in that as well. So we'll have to calculate, see if that's the case. These are loans. These are loans that are loaned out already. The bank took this money and loaned this much out. Okay? All right, let's get to it. Assume the required reserve ratio is 10%. So let's just do the work right here. 10% of this needs to go in the vault. Well, 10% of 200 or 2,000 is $200. So we know this is what's in the vault, basically, or stored with the Fed. 200. That means there's 0 excess reserves. There's no extra cash. Okay? All of it is in the vault. It's all required by the Fed. It must be held there in case of emergency. Okay? So they can't loan anything out. Let's look at A. What is the dollar value of new loans? These are loans already out. So what new loans can First Superior make? Explain. So we already did the calculations. There is no extra cash. So there is no money for extra loans, because there is no excess reserves available. Okay? So I'm going to look to make sure with the College Board and see what they put. 1 point is earned for stating that new loans are 0 because the bank has no excess reserves. Or you could have said because the bank is already fully loaned up. Something to that effect. Okay? So good. We're done with A. Let's go to B. Mr. Smith deposits $100 of cash. So there's a deposit. So here's Mr. Smith. Okay, he's excited. I can put a smiley face. $100 is going in to his checking account. So that means we would now have $2,100. Okay? So we go over here. We know of that 100, only 10% has to go in the vault. So that means 210 is now in the vault. And we have $90 left over for excess reserves, extra cash. So just by doing that, we could do some calculations on our own. So let's look at the question. Mr. Smith deposits $100 cash in demand deposits. Okay? Calculate the maximum amount of new loans that First Superior can now make. Okay? Okay, so what can they loan out? Initially, the most they can loan out is $90. Okay? $90. $90 is the initial, what they can loan out, initial loan amount. Okay? So $90. Let's look to see, make sure. Okay, 1 point is earned for correctly calculating maximum new loans is $90. Okay? So $90. Now let's go to C. As a result of Mr. Smith's $100 cash deposit, calculate the maximum change over time, okay, in each of the following. So over time, calculate over time, we're going to be dealing with the money multiplier, okay? And we know is 1 over the reserve requirement. They're not asking for the multiplier, but you have to calculate the multiplier to get the result. So, what's the reserve requirement? It's 10%. 1 over 10% equals 1 over 0.1. Basically, the multiplier is 10. Okay, 1 over 10, multiplier is 10, but that's what they're asking. Over time for each of the following loans. We already told you, we looked at this, they could initially loan out 90. But over time, that's the key. Over time, you got to calculate what's going to happen in those loans. Well, they're going to multiply times that multiplier. And you watch that video talking about the multiplier and all that with Clifford. The maximum change over time is 90 for loans. Max change on loans. Okay? Good. So that's I. The next part, a little tricky, people get confused, but keep it simple. The max change is 900, not 90. So there's your answer for loans, okay? All right, now the demand deposits, just do what they say here. What's the change in demand deposits? Well, Mr. Smith put in $100, right? That's demand deposits. He's putting in $100, okay? So all you have to do is 100 times the multiplier. The max change is 1,000. Okay, max change. Okay, max change on demand deposits. So when you see demand deposits, what's going to change? You just take whatever they put in times the multiplier. That's the max change. Whatever you see loans, you put what's required to go in the vault, and then whatever's left over, times that, times the multiplier. That's it. Knock it out. Good job. All right, D. As a result of Mr. Smith's $100 cash deposit, calculate the maximum change over time in the money supply. Well, we know it's the same thing. This is it's the same thing basically as this one. The money supply increases when you make a loan, okay? When the bank makes a loan, that increases the money supply. So basically, it's the same thing. You look at your loans, it's 90 times the multiplier. It's 900 is the max change to the money supply. So basically, the loans in the money supply are basic. That's the same thing. That's the effect to the money supply, okay? So all you do, they kind of try to see if you know the difference or if they're the same. They're kind of throwing you a curveball here. And you're like, well, I don't know. Don't come up with another number. Just realize when you make loans, and that increases the money supply, the max change is you just take that initial loan money, multiply it times the multiplier. All right, good. All right, the last one. Provide one reason why the actual change in the money supply, which we just did right here, can be smaller than the maximum change you identified. So we identified the max change of 900, okay? So I'm just going to pull up what they said here to make sure we're all good on this one, okay? It says 1 point is earned for stating that the money supply can be smaller than the max change identified, which was at 900, when the public holds more money. Like if we hold more money back, okay, we're not spending that money, okay, we're not putting it in the banks, or banks hold more money of excess reserves. So let's say that 900 is what they can loan out. They decide we're just going to loan out 700 and we're going to keep $200 in excess cash. So it's kind of a tricky question, but they're saying, okay, the max is 900 effect. How could it be less? Well, if you or I don't put money in the bank, or if the banks hold back money as extra cash. Okay? This one could be a little tricky. Just do the best you can on this. Somewhere in this area, if people don't loan the bank, put their money in the banks, or if the banks don't loan out all of that money, they hold some back in excess reserves or cash. All right, guys, make sure you get it done. Good luck. Way to go, Eagles. Keep up the good work.